Hey, Satnam, welcome everyone. Second live broadcast. Thanks for being here. I'm happy to be here with you. I just returned back to California from a weekend just outside Durango, Colorado area, where I was teaching Ayurveda primarily, as well as yoga. To a beautiful group of women who are studying to become yoga therapists, some of them healthcare professionals already. We're integrating yoga therapy into their profession and into their lives. And it's always a joy to spend a substantive amount of time with Ayurveda. And I'm always a student of Ayurveda first and foremost, or perhaps first and foremost a devotee of Ayurveda, a devotee of the what they call Ayurvedya. The Ayurvedya is the living Ayurveda, the living wisdom that becomes Ayurveda. Ayurveda is what we can teach, what we can write in books. It's like the codified version of it. But it's a living thing, as well as what we're doing here. It's a living thing that we're looking to embody. And so what I mean by being a devotee is to doing my best to be a good vessel for that. And in order to be a good vessel for something, that requires the individual to have the devotional reverence that will cause a condition that allows the living wisdom to come alive and to express itself through you. So a huge part of what we're doing in a 40-day experience is a cultivation of genuine type of devotion, not necessarily religious devotion. And in most of cases, no, not religious devotion, but just human devotion, to be aware enough that we recognize that there's something much bigger than ourselves and our minds that is operating this reality. And so this is why it is always a privilege to be here with you and to be sharing the teachings and to be doing these meditations. Because one of the principles that we know from Ayurveda is that when you're out of balance, or when you're not in the state of the subtlety, then you will be attracted, you will desire things that are of like frequency to that space that you're inhabiting. But when you're in the very subtle space, when you have entered into a much more meditative realm of existence, then you'll be attracted to the things that are of a like frequency to that space. So this posture I'm sitting in now, they often call easy pose. What that means, it's the Sanskrit term for that is sukhasana. And sukhasana, sukha comes from the word sukha, and sukha is most often translated as happy. But what it literally means is good space. And so that's why I say easy pose or happy pose but good space. And so what we're doing in a 40-day experience is endeavoring to enter into good space. And good space in this context would be defined as a space that causes you to desire the type of things that are going to make you more of what you actually are. It's going to cause you to have brighter clarity of mind. You'll desire things that are naturally going to be supportive of whatever it is that you're here to do on this planet Earth. So a more simple way of translating the Ayurvedic teaching is that when you're out of balance, you'll desire the things that will keep you out of balance. If you're in French fries or McDonald's consciousness, you will desire things of a McDonald's-like nature. But if you're in balance or in harmony, you will naturally, more or less, or be more likely to desire the things that will keep you in balance. And so how do you make the paradigm leap? Because if I'm out of balance, I'm desiring things that keep me out of balance. And it's only if I'm in balance or in a harmonized space will I desire the things that will keep me in a harmonized space. How do we make the paradigm leap? Well, there's you have to create a space change. You have to change the space in which you're inhabiting. And that is the heart of a 40-day experience. What we would like to happen, and this is regardless of whether this is your first time doing anything like this, or for those of you who have done things like this many, many times for perhaps many, many years, it is as equally relevant to you and I, because it is a constant process of taking care of the space that you inhabit. And the more you can maintain yourself in a space of a beginner's mind, the more likely it is that you're going to maintain good momentum and good consistency in the very simple practices that will maintain your good space and will to keep you and will keep you progressing ahead in the cultivation of more and more refinement of space, of the types of space that you can inhabit. More subtle and more subtle and more refined and more subtle and more subtle and more subtle. Often the misconception is as you continue on, it becomes like more fireworks and more fireworks and more fireworks and more fireworks, but it's in fact more subtle and more subtle and more subtle and more subtle. And the fact that, of the matter is, if you continue along, you will absolutely fall in love with subtlety, and that will be what you will desire in terms of your desires in general. Is you'll desire things that are subtle. You will desire meditation. You will more so desire the space that meditation brings you to. And so what we would like to happen over a 40-day experience is for us to become more desiring of the subtle space that we inhabit when we practice meditation. And so that does take at least 40 days to change that fundamental habit. And so if you're a brand new practitioner, we want to initialize or initiate, but it's self-initiate. And the initiation can never come, in this case, from anyone else. In Kundalini Yoga, there's no initiation, because the teaching of Kundalini Yoga is if a person can't initiate themselves, then no one else can initiate them either. So it's a self-initiation of inhabiting and becoming desiring of meditative awareness. And because everything is magnetic, and because we're needing to circulate pranic energy in a consistent enough manner, so that we become more habitually inclined to desire meditative spaces, it takes time. And during the 40-day experience, which we're well into now, it's absolutely likely that you're going to hit many fields of resistance along the way. And it's very important to be aware of that and to prepare yourself. If you're going to travel and going on a journey today and you need to drive across a great distance of land, you would like to know, okay, what types of terrain am I going to be crossing? If you had to travel by foot, you would want to know, what are the weather patterns going to be like? Do I need to have a raincoat? Do I need rain gear? Do I need boots? What is going to take place? So what I'm telling you is, as we're journeying across the 40-day landscape, it does not matter whether you're brand new to this or if you've been doing this for long periods of time. You need a particular type of gear. And the gear you need is realistic expectations for what it is going to be like. And the realistic expectation, in a very general type of a way, is that it is going to be difficult at times. Maybe not difficult in an intense type of way, but difficult at times to maintain juiciness and maintain freshness and maintain the desire to do the practice on a day in and day out basis for the length of time that you have committed yourself to on this 40-day agreement. The agreement you made is between you and your own consciousness. Do not get it twisted. It's not between you and me. It's not between you and anyone else. It's between you and your own consciousness. And that is the supreme relationship that you will always have in your life, and that you will always have a back and forth with between your mind and your consciousness. And if you make the agreement between your mind and your consciousness, and then you are unable to fulfill an agreement, often what happens is we feel deeper, even subtle subconscious shame or subconscious guilt. That distorts the relationship between the mind and the deep consciousness. Now, regardless of whether you fulfill an agreement or a commitment that you made between yourself and your consciousness on a 40-day journey, regardless if that is committed or that if that is fulfilled on the basic level of keeping up or not fulfilled on the basic level of keeping up, we want to cultivate the wisdom, my friends, that shame and guiltiness serve no productive purpose in either way. For instance, there's an old Tibetan saying that if you worry, the saying is that is in regards to the tendency towards worrying. If you have control of a situation, then you can have any power to change the situation, so there's no need in worrying. And likewise, if you have no control of the situation, then worrying is not going to help you anyways. So in either occurrence, worrying is unuseful. So there you find a logical context to understand for your mind that there's no use in worrying in any circumstance, even though we have the tendency to do so anyways. So if you can get your mind logically behind the idea that worry, in essence, inherently, is non-useful, then you can start to disassemble or undo the pranic and nervous system connections that are causing you to habitually worry. Okay, that's one example. Now let's take it back to guiltiness and shame. Guiltiness rests on the consciousness. Shame, these are habitual patterns that have been, in a certain way, hardwired through past experiences and through past lifetimes into our current present day way of operating and navigating our lives. What we're looking at now is within the context of the 40-day experience that we are doing together. That guiltiness, regardless of the actuality of how you fulfill your agreement to a 40-day experience or do not fulfill your agreement to a 40-day experience, guiltiness plays no useful role. Because if you do not fulfill your agreement, then all guiltiness will do, it will give you an inner type of subconscious shame between you, your consciousness, and your mind. And that inner shame, which we actually generate because at some deep subconscious level, we feel that it does play a useful role, which is why we inject it into our experience. We feel that if we're not guilty, if we do not inject guiltiness into our consciousness, into our experience when we do not fulfill our agreements, then we will be likely to not fulfill our agreements next time. So we feel on a very basic level that guiltiness plays a functional role in helping us to not do the same thing that we repeated that we had done in the past. We do not want to repeat the same behavior that we've done in the past. So we inject guiltiness onto ourselves as a potential remedy for our previous behavior. But our experience tells us over and over and over and over and over again that regardless of our injection, whether it's consciously or more likely subconsciously, injecting guiltiness onto ourselves, regardless of our consistently having done that throughout our life, that guiltiness, that supposed medicine of guiltiness that we somehow feel is going to be in service to us not repeating previous behaviors, that medicine does not work. It is not a medicine because it does not work. All guiltiness does is stabilizes previous activity. Guiltiness comes from the pranic quality known in Ayurveda and yoga as tamas. Tamas is what stabilizes previous behavior. So it's a trick. We think, based on previous conditioning, not because there's anything wrong with us, but just because of the conditioning of our lives, we think that if we apply guiltiness to the behavior that we were dissatisfied with, that maybe next time we will be less likely to repeat that behavior. Obviously, we're not thinking this intellectually. We're not thinking this consciously, but subconsciously, that is exactly what's going on. And so now we're bringing our awareness, we're shining our radiance on the situation. And when you shine radiance, which is light, on the situation, you can reveal its truth. And by doing a meditation day in and day out, you go, hick, you increase the field of your radiance. And when you increase the field of your radiance, you can then apply that radiance to situations of your life. So there is good news to report here, that regardless if you fulfill your agreement with this 40-day challenge, the agreement that you have made between your consciousness and your mind, regardless if you are able to fulfill it, guiltiness will not be in service to you. If you do not fulfill, if you are for some reason unable to fulfill your 40-day experience, I'm here to relieve you of the tendency or the need to feel guilty, because it will not be in service to you. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, now, Jai Dave, are you encouraging us to just loosen up and not worry so much about fulfilling the 40 days? In a certain way, yes, I am, actually. And because here is the reason why. It's a catch-22. I feel if you loosen up in a certain way and you have less emotional attachment to your end behaviors, you gain more pranic control. Because we're emotionally attached to things, we have less pranic control, because when your emotions are higher, your intelligence is lower. So when you relax and be cool and not be too uptight about the end results of things, then all of a sudden you free yourself up to actually exercise your willpower. Because when there's emotional attachment, you have less capacity to access the willpower that you do have. And so the more a yogi becomes emotionally mature, a human being becomes emotionally mature, then the more they have capacity to access their will. And so instead of being emotional in polarity, and guiltiness is only applied to a situation when we're jumping from polarities, where magnetic energy is erratic and arrhythmic. They call in Ayurveda vata. As soon as that starts to dissipate and you start to just become more relaxed, then you apply logic in the same way that you apply it to worry, that you apply it to understanding the non-usefulness of guiltiness. Now, you may understand non-worrying. You may understand the sound logic in non-guiltiness. That doesn't mean you'll be able to embody non-worrying and non-guiltiness, but it is important foundation for you to start to unravel and undo those nerve connections, those pranic connections that are continually causing you to habitually be worrying, to habitually be guilty, self-guilt, self-shaming. These are very subtle things. It's relative always to you. For a person who may just be beginning, these may be more dramatic in nature, and for a yogi of many, many years, it's maybe very refined connectivities that you're unraveling and putting back now and connecting in a more sophisticated, useful fashion. You're replacing worriness with prayerfulness, praying. So even though you may understand the sound logic there, it still will remain some control over your domain for a period of time. And that's why you have to do something to reconnect into a more useful fashion. And that's exactly what Kriyas do. It's exactly what the yogic practice and the meditation process does. So if we are understanding this way, we also have to understand logically in the positive function. We put together our logic to understand that if we can be consistent enough, and we can understand that we can create a magnetic desire to be in a meditative space if we will apply the work. And if we will do the good work, even when we don't feel like we want to, that the feeling is a superficial part of our psyche, and we're going to follow something much deeper than just our feeling. We're going to follow a deeper intuition. We're going to follow a deeper knowing and a deeper insight that by doing a meditation consistently, I will be able to cultivate a beautiful space in my life. So we're no longer doing the meditations because of an impulse of guiltiness and the potential of shame. We're doing the meditation based on sound logic, but we're also doing it in a relaxed way where we're not uptight. And we know that if we were unsuccessful in our endeavor, we're just going to put one foot back in front of the other again. Because when you approach it this way, then even if you were unsuccessful in fulfilling your 40-day challenge, you're going to be far more likely to begin the next day, to say, all right, I'm not worried about 40 days. I miss one day, but I'm going to keep going, because ultimately it's about me getting into a higher magnetic vibration so that I'm desiring things that are going to make me genuinely and sustainably happy. That's what we're doing here. And so I want to relieve some of that pressure that is subconsciously created from guilty tendencies and self-induced shaming tendencies. And let's do this because it's a wise thing to do. We genuinely want to do it, and we're going to do our very, very best. And that's the reason why to do it, because it's wise, because it's smart, and because it's in service of a happier life, a happier humanity, and a happier planet. So please bring your hands into prayer pose. We're going to tune in together. We're going to do just a couple of little energizing exercises, and we're going to go deeply into our meditation and enjoy the effects of our meditation and enjoy experiencing ourselves in our more subtle nature, which is our real nature. Bring your hands to prayer pose. Inhale deeply. Exhale deeply. Meditate your gaze into your third eye point. Inhale deeply. And exhale deeply. Gurudev Namo. Sadhana. Okay, please bring your hands to your shins or your ankles. And we're going to begin spinal flexes. And chest is out, chin is tucked. And you're going to inhale, lift through your chest. And exhale back. Om Sam Guru. Om Sam Guru. Om Sam Guru. Meditative gaze into your third eye. And the breath is rhythmic. And the mind, you're almost like self-hypnotically bringing yourself into meditative space. And the mantra does that. Om Sam Guru. Song is in every limb of me, every cell of my body is Guru, is the ecstasy of consciousness. And you start to bring yourself into that space. Nam Sat. Keep up. Nam Sat. Nam. Om Sam Guru. Om Sam Guru. But the breath must be deep and powerful. Go. Om Sam Guru. Om Sam Guru. Om Sam Guru. Om Sam Guru. Om Sam Satanam, Sat, and keep it going, keep it going. The meditative gaze. Om Sam Guru. Om Sam Guru. Pull the breath in through the nose like you're trying to lift yourself with your breathing. Om Sam Guru. Om Sam Guru. Om Sam Guru. Om Sam Guru. Beautiful. Now deepest inhale. Suspend the breath and lift up through the rectum, sex organ, navel. Meditate into your third eye. Open the chest. Drop your shoulder blades. Push your under tongue against the upper palate of your mouth and inhale a bit more. And exhale. Okay, ready? Next one, yeah? Chest is wide open. Shoulders, blades are dropped. Fingers are in front. Thumbs are in behind the shoulders. Elbows are at shoulder level. Your root lock is connected. The rectum, sex organ, navel is gently engaged. A gentle engagement of the root lock. Meditative gaze. Inhale left, exhale right. opening up your central channel and the deep breath, the meditative gaze. Good, keep up. Inhaling left, exhaling right. In about 15 seconds, continue. Inhaling left, exhaling right. Meditative gaze, opening the center channel. Shushamana. Into the center, deeply inhale. Lift the root lock. Draw the energy upward. Bring your awareness into the forehead area, third eye space. Exhale. Relax, bring your hands to your knees. Chest lifted, chin tucked. You're going to inhale the shoulders up and exhale, release. Beautiful. Keep up. Powerful breath. Meditative gaze. Keep up. Inhale deep, squeeze up. And exhale. Beautiful. I'm so grateful we have all this amazing music and these mantras that have been recorded. And the vast majority of the music, the mantric music that we use is, of course, Simrit. And what a blessing it is to have access to this stuff. And on July 26th, which is a Wednesday, at 11 a.m. Pacific time, she's going to be doing a special live webcast event similar to this. And we'll be releasing that in the next day or so. And I would love for you to join in, because she's very masterful in how she chants, and she is a very good teacher in teaching others to be able to use their sound in a way that is extremely effective and lifts your spirit and consciousness. And she's going to be teaching that Supreme Sound Activation live webcast, and it's open to everyone. So we'll send that out soon. Okay. All right. Last part, and then we're going to do our meditation. Okay. So you'll be breath of fire, and you'll be bringing your arms up to 60 degrees with the thumbs up. Okay. Arms up 60 degrees, fingers tucked in, thumbs are out. Meditative gaze. Okay. It's just, think of it like this. This 3 minutes, you may go through the entire process in a very microcosmic way of what you would go through in the 40-day challenge in a macrocosmic way. So within these 3 minutes, you may be first enjoying it, then you go through tension and resistance and want to come out of the exercise, but then by the end of it, you exhale and feel amazing. So see if you go through that process and stay the course. A mantra I love to use, stay the course. If you stay the course within just these 3 minutes, you can get an experience of commitment. And commitment's what builds your character. Yes, commitment is difficult, but it's the best kind of difficult. It's the type of difficult that draws out your backbone, that draws out your virtue and your integrity. And that gives you character. And character is what generates a sense of dignified presence. And dignified presence leads to divine presence. And divine presence creates graceful living. And graceful living leads towards serviceful living, where your life becomes about uplifting life, uplifting others, using your creative energy for elevation in life on the planet Earth. And that, my friends, is what delivers happiness into your psyche, into your body, and into your experience of existence. And so go into the commitment in this very microcosmic example of just 3 minutes. And out of that, you can extract wisdom that will assist and serve you in the pursuit of being successful in for instance, 40-day commitment. You can transfer the wisdom you gather in a 3-minute experience, and you can allow it to help serve you in a bigger committed experience. Come into the 60-degree angle, eyes into the third eye, heart lifted up, arms extended, shoulder blades drop down the back, heart is open, chest is out, chin is in, shoulder blades drop down the back, thumbs up, fingers tucked, inhale. All of myself. Breath of fire. All of myself. All of my heart is with you. How can I go somewhere else into this life when all of my thoughts are with you? Rhythmic, powerful, breath of fire, meditate the gaze, go. In this life, I had many chances, and all I've been leading to you. How can I know something else to do this in life when all of my love is for you? Less than a minute. Recommit to the posture, to the gaze, to the breath. Open your heart. 15 seconds. Focus.
I had many chances, and all have been leading to you. How can I know something
Thumb
else
tips
when
together,
it's
fingers
right?
wide. Drop the shoulders, touch the ceiling. Pull the root lock, meditate
When
the
all of
gaze.
my love is for you.
Exhale.
All of my love is for you. And all of my love is for you.
Satnam. Okay, here we go, folks. We're going to bring our hands into the Gyan Mudra. Hands on your knees. Remember, this Longa Konkar meditation requires a neck lock, Jalandhar. That's lifting of your heart and keeping the chin tucked in. And your primary objective is simply vibrating the sound and focusing on the sound current. Okay? And knowing all the while that you're meditating along with hundreds of other people across the planet. And whether you're live here or you're doing this is recorded and it's after the original, it's still the same. So tune into that and tune into vibrating and heightening your magnetic energy through the sound current and through the pranic breath. Bring your eyes into your third eye and enjoy. Inhale deep. Hold the breath. Exhale. Sadhana. So learn to dwell in the meditative mind. Learn to make it a place of familiarity, making it a place that's very comfortable to you and a place that you enjoy supremely. Take your hands to prayer pose. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you. And the pure light within you guide your way on, guide your way on, guide your way on. So now, my friends, I'm heading over to our Life Force Academy forum on Facebook right now. I'm going to post there, and I would love to hear from you. Love to hear where you are today, how you're enjoying or not enjoying your 40-day challenge so far, and how the broadcast, this experience today was for you. And wishing you a most beautiful, fulfilling week. And we'll be in touch soon about when the next live broadcast will be next week. New class coming out this Wednesday, the second part of the Divine Magnetism series. If you haven't taken the first class yet, it is there in the Life Force Academy. You can access everything from the 40-day challenge page. Love to you. Love to your families. Have a beautiful week. Head over to the forum on Facebook, and I'll see you over there. Just a quick say hi. Let's connect for a moment. See you there. Satnam.